More to come. Can Gonzaga avoid the upset bug? We'll send you out to BYU right now.
You're watching ESPN's Bracket Builder Week.
All-American candidate Kelly Olynyk and his Gonzaga Bulldogs have climbed to number 2 in the country. But Gonzaga challenged tonight on the road against Tyler Haws and his BYU Cougars. It'll be rocking here in Provo. Big game in college hoops, and we've got it for you next. Man, are they ready for this game in Provo? A lot of excitement here. It's Thursday Night Showcase presented by T. Rowe Price, a part of Bracket Builder Week. The number 2 Gonzaga Bulldogs on the road to take on the BYU Cougars. It has been another topsy-turvy week in college hoops. Indiana has lost. Michigan has lost. Now tonight, Duke loses. There are the Zags sitting at number 2 in the country. And welcome inside the Marriott Center. Dave Fleming alongside Mark Adams. So, Mark, the losses continue for the teams at the top of the polls. And the question, I think, is here, we're getting ready to watch the Zags. Are we watching the top-ranked team in the country?
The answer is yes, but it comes under the heading of be careful what you wish for. It seems that every time a top 5 team gets within sniffing distance of number 1, a 2 or 3 game losing streak is sure to follow. Yeah, they're number 1, but you know what? There's about 22,000 people here who have a different idea.
Yeah, first things first, they got to win this game, and this will not be easy. Sellout crowd, senior night for a bunch of the Cougars. A couple of great players involved in this game, Mark, but part of our one-on-one, Olynyk and Haws. The performances in the first meeting between these two were very, very different.
Look at Kelly Olynyk's numbers. He was Bill Walton-like, as he was perfect from the floor and the free throw line. And look at Tyler Haws, averages 20 points per game, but against Gonzaga, 1 point. That stat line for those two players has to flip for BYU. They have a chance tonight to knock off, dare I say, the number 1 team in the country.
You can say it right now, still number 2, but look at the record, 27-2. They've won 10 in a row, an impressive 14-0 in WCC play. It's Pangos, Bell, Hart, Harris, and Olynyk, the starting 5 for the Zags. On senior night for BYU, 3 seniors in the starting lineup for the 20-9 Cougars, Cusick, Zylstra, and Davies, along with Tyler Haws and Matt Carlino. The head coach of the BYU Cougars is 8th year here in Provo, and he has done a heck of a job with this program. Dave Rose, this year, though, 6 consecutive NCAA tournament berths. That streak is on the line. BYU has had a little more of an up-and-down year. 8-time WCC Coach of the Year, Mark Few, maybe his best team ever at Gonzaga, as he's had some really good ones. The Zags, number 2 ranked in the country under Coach Few. So here we go, Kelly Olynyk, who, as Mark just told you, destroyed the Cougars in the first meeting between these two in Spokane about a month ago. Olynyk has continued to play at a high level. He'll jump center with Davies, and it's BYU controlling the first possession of this game. So Cougars ball in front of the sellout crowd on senior night. Matt Carlino pulls up for a jumper and misses the first shot of the game. Zags, just like BYU, they will push the ball in transition. Olynyk, a little shot fake, draws some contact, scores with the foul.
The patience of Kelly Olynyk. Watching fake and then draws contact. A lot of big guys would get greedy and score right now. Instead, ball fake, draws contact.
Savvy play for the All-American candidate. Good free throw shooter, but he misses the chance for the three-point play. Well, that's the first shot he's missed against BYU from the field, from the free throw line against the Cougars all year. He was perfect in the first matchup. Tyler Haws misses the shot.
Kelly Olynyk just outruns everybody down the floor.
Well, that was a good example of it there. He got great position, just couldn't score. Here's Carlino Haws, who had a nightmare game in Spokane, rejected by Olynyk, who's also playing defense at a very high level. And Bell on the move in transition, got cut off by the Cougars D.
He might be the fastest guy on the floor.
A whistle and a foul. Linnick is all over the place early in this game.
7 foot, 238, closes the gap from the backside. He's just so mobile in his half-court sets with lateral motion, and he's so fast up and down the floor.
That whistle was for a kick ball, so no foul against BYU. Possession for Gonzaga. And Mike Hart, sort of the ultimate glue guy for this Bulldogs team. Not much of a scorer. Does about everything else. Harris has been a big scorer. Misses that shot from the baseline.
Brigham Young successful in their zone defense on their first zone possession of the game.
And we will see a lot of that from the Cougars tonight. They played more zone this year than in any other season under Dave Rose. Carlino picked up his dribble and bounced it to nobody. That's a turnover.
One of the underrated aspects of the Gonzaga team is that defensively, they're very stingy. They can afford to make some mistakes. You got shot blocker Olenek, you got Harris who's athletic, and then you got quickness on the perimeter. It's a good combination.
Zags defense, particularly lately during this win streak, has been suffocating. Gary Bell Jr. also starting to play better and better. Shot clock down to 10 now. Kevin Pangos has the ball. Pangos goes to the basket with the left hand, scores.
I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of man-to-man out of BYU tonight. I think they almost have to go zone.
And that is the ultimate example why they just have a hard time guarding perimeter players penetrating the basket from their man-to-man.
And then you have the inside play as well. It's a double whammy for Gonzaga.
Davies got a pretty good look there, missed the shot. Davies diving for the ball, gets called for a foul. And that's going to be his second early in this game. That is a big whistle and not a real smart play, I don't think, from Brandon Davies.
You love the hustle, but you don't like the decision-making right there. But senior night, you kind of get juiced up, Dave, and a lot of times you make some decisions that normally you wouldn't. A long way from the opposing basket, reaches first and then dives second, and that's a foul.
Well, that's a good point. You don't know how kids are going to react with all the emotion of senior night. And for Brandon Davies, 2 early fouls. He's still in the game at the moment, though. We'll see if the Zags attack him. Olenek in the lane. Tried to find Harris, threw it away. That's a turnover, Gonzaga. Now Davies will come out of the game. Bronson Kafusi, a freshman who also plays defensive line on the BYU football team. So he's got some size and strength down low. Comes in for BYU.
His dad, Steve, is one of the assistant coaches on the BYU football team.
Whistle.
Load.
Foul against Gonzaga, away from the ball. That one's going to go against Mike Hart. Gonzaga wearing those uniforms, no names on the back, just the Bulldogs. Sort of the alternate jerseys these days for Gonzaga. Carlino, the inbounder. Here's Cusick, the runner in the lane, short. Rebound, Kafusi, scores.
You love a guy that brings energy off the bench, and Kafusi, one of those guys, physical.
First basket for BYU.
Good ball movement.
Olenek lays it in, and another chance for a three-point play. Those big guys for BYU, for Gonzaga rather, work so well together.
So unselfish. This team is famous for making the extra pass and then the extra pass beyond that.
Foul was against Kafusi, so Davies out with early foul trouble. His replacement immediately picks up a personal foul. And there is the senior Brandon Davies. Olenek, 80% free throw shooter. And this time he converts.
Full court pressure from Gonzaga.
Carlino beats the pressure with the pass.
And now without Brandon Davies, this really becomes a donut offense for BYU.
Carlino, tough contested shot, no good. Harris defensive board. Pangos and the Zags want to run. Here's Bell, wide open three. too strong. Rebound Hawes. Zylstra runner, no good, and Olynyk tipped it to Pangos.
Everything is contested by the black jerseys. They're just getting up in BYU's face on every single shot.
Pangos has been so efficient from way outside. Didn't go, and the ball gets tipped to Hawes. On the break, Hawes layup good.
He already has doubled his point total from the game in Spokane.
Now, this is a guy who averages 20 plus a game. He scored one in the first meeting between these two teams. Olynyk, and that's too easy.
Kelly Olynyk in the soft spot of that zone. He can pass it and also has that soft touch from 12 feet. That's a zone buster.
Yeah, he is looking like he's ready for another huge game. Carlino off the dribble. Almost got that one to go. BYU crashing the offensive boards. It's Kaufusi. He gets it off to Hawes. Fans here wanted a whistle and a foul.
Well, number 3 in white, Tyler Hawes. He's got to be the guy that generates offense for this basketball team right now.
Kaufusi down low against Harris. Makes his move. Foul. So that'll send us to a timeout here in Provo. Emotions are running high, but so far, second-ranked team in the country, Gonzaga playing well. Kevin Pangos having a great year, attacking the basket. But Tyler Hawes, he needs to come alive for BYU. Cougars trail by 5.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by T. Rowe Price. Understanding the connections of a complex global economy. Invest with confidence. And in part by Lexus and the RXF Sport. It's What's Next from Lexus.
It's a beautiful, chilly night here in Utah. We're in Provo. BYU hosting the second-ranked team of the country. Gonzaga with the early 9-4 lead. Here are the West Coast Conference standings. Gonzaga, this game and one more left in the regular season. They've already clinched a share of the conference title. One more win of the Zags clinch it outright. BYU, meanwhile, expected to be a real contender in this league. 9-5. St. Mary's and Gonzaga have been clearly the top two teams in this league this season.
St. Mary's also had an excellent win against Creighton during Bracket Busters weekend. That helped their cause.
Another great year for Mark Few and his Gonzaga Bulldogs. Last year, the first time in a decade plus that the Zags didn't at least share the WCC title. They have changed that this year. Kaufusi at the free throw line. Ragged free throw shooter misses the first one.
You know, Dave, it's interesting that Mark Few certainly has had opportunities to leave Gonzaga, but he learned from the best. His father was a Presbyterian minister for 54 years with the same congregation. Apparently, staying at the same place and doing a great job runs along the family lineage.
If it's working, why change it?
Absolutely.
And it's clearly working for Coach Few and this Gonzaga program. A little pass fake. Pangos misses the three. Loose ball tracked down by Bell, and he's fouled. And I think that one is going to go against Kaufusi. It is. So 2 against Brandon Davies and 2 against that young kid.
So how important is that? Well, arguably the 2 best inside players in the West Coast Conference, Kelly Olynyk and Elias Harris. And now with Brandon Davies on the bench and Kaufusi in trouble, that is a tough matchup for BYU.
You also have Sam Dower now in the game, who can be an explosive scorer for the Bulldogs down low. Kaufusi comes out. Austin is in. Zylstra comes back in. This is a smaller lineup for BYU, and I think you just identify what the challenge is going to be. How do they slow down Olynyk and Dower?
And Nate Austin just physically is going to have a very difficult time with the strength of the front line of Gonzaga.
David Stockton also in for the Zags. Here's Bell, passed up the 3, cut off. Good defense that time, and he travels.
That BYU zone at times can confuse Mark Few's team, and we talked about it before the game. And if you allow the ball to stall, that allows BYU to react quickly.
Here's Anson Winder, sophomore from Las Vegas, off the bench for the Cougars. Gets it from Hawes. Little spin move from Winder. Shot goes. Three-point lead for Gonzaga.
Watch this zone and watch the high post area as Olynyk moves through. Gonzaga's got a few weapons, don't they?
Yeah, that's the problem against this Gonzaga team. You could argue Indiana may be the best offensive team in the country, but the Zags are right there in that argument. Here's Zylstra trying to answer, and he does.
The great equalizer for BYU, especially with the smaller lineup. They've got to make threes.
The first attempt, and it goes down. Olynyk. Stockton is not much of an outside shooter.
But he's good against the zone, getting into gaps and those small window passes.
Pangos from the corner. Ball knocked around, and Austin tries to save it in, but his foot was out of bounds. That might have been BYU ball had he just let it go. Didn't take that chance, so the Zags get a fresh shot clock. Tough place to inbound the ball from, that corner over there. Gonzaga will make a substitution. Drew Barham, who has become a more and more important player for Mark Few, doesn't play big minutes, but an excellent outside shooter, and against that zone he replaces another good shooter. Pangos comes out, but Barham, he could be a zone buster.
Mark Few, a very good situational coach.
Here's Barham, doesn't quite have that range. Trying to get the ball to Olynyk, couldn't do it.
They're doing a good job covering up the middle. Everybody's sagging in on Olynyk, which allows the three-point bombs to be open.
Another one for Gary Bell Jr. That's his second in the first half. He has played better and better as the year has gone on, the sophomore from the Seattle area.
Well, Dave, you bring up a great point. Like Indiana, Gonzaga has a lot of usable parts. They're all different. They do fundamentally different things, but it all works together.
Foul against Olynyk. Zylstra taking it to the basket, so he'll shoot free throws. Coming up on Saturday, Bracket Builder Week continues. Saturday Showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy begins at noon Eastern. Alabama top 10 Florida. That's Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV. Huge game of the Pac-12. Number 11 Arizona and the UCLA Bruins from Pauley Pavilion.
How crazy is the Pac-12?
Just chaos these days in the Pac-12. Every time you think you got the Pac-12 figured out, it changes. And you can see the teams bunched at the top right there.
Mike Montgomery and Cal, the hottest team in the Pac-12 right now.
Missed free throw from Zylstra. And the foul was not against Olynyk, by the way. It went against Gary Bell Jr. So that's, I think, good news for the Zags. Although Bell's playing very well. Finds Olynyk, and he dumps it down to Dower for the lay-in.
He saw over the defense to start the ball rotation and then gets the ball in the middle for an assist inside. He's such a good passer, and he sees over everybody.
Timeout, Dave Rose at BYU. Olynyk and his teammates playing well at the outset. Second-ranked Zags lead by 7. Dave Fleming, Mark Adams here in Provo for Thursday Night Showcase presented by T. Rowe Price. Zags lead BYU 17-10. Mark Kelly Olynyk on the bench right now, but in this first half so far, he has showed off all of his skills.
Mark Pope, the assistant coach for BYU, who played in the NBA, played at Kentucky, said simply, he's on a different level. And when you watch him, you see that he's clearly on a different level. He's better than anybody out there.
Sort of playing a different game at times. Hawes with the air ball. His struggles against Gonzaga continuing in the first half here tonight. And BYU really needs him. Play called from the bench. Stockton will use a screen from Elias Harris. Over the top pass, Harris catches down low, patient, scores.
Well, that high-low is very difficult to match up with. And so Harris can score on the block, then they put him in the high post when Olynyk goes on the bench. And then Harris is a good passer from the high post.
Nice to have that many weapons. Winder open, missed the three. Rebound and a scramble. They're calling a foul. I think they're calling the foul against Sam Dower, although we'll wait and see. Michael Greenstein, the official, will sort it out. It is against Dower and the Bulldogs. But it's not just Olynyk, Mark. Gary Bell also playing well.
Pick your poison. Gary Bell is poison.
Dave Fleming, Mark Adams in Provo. Gonzaga 19, BYU 10. Mark, take us inside the play. You were talking about Gonzaga, their big men, and their ability to play high-low.
Their high-low package is as good as anybody in college basketball. They find the high, and they look for the low. Look at the seal right there. As Elias Harris just seals his man, wheels, deals, and seals down low. I like that kid because he knows how to use his body, but he also understands how to use the defender against himself.
So Gonzaga playing well here at the outset with all the emotion of the big crowd at senior night, and so far that has not really helped BYU. One of those seniors, Brandon Davies, 2 quick fouls, one of them not a smart play, but I don't think Dave Rose has much choice, Mark. Brandon Davies is coming back in this game.
Well, he's the only big guy in this building that might be able to defend the high-low. There's nobody else in the white jersey who's going to be able to defend Gonzaga in the high-low situation.
Well, the problem is now you figure Gonzaga has to be very eager to attack Davies on the other end of the court. Out of this timeout, BYU will have the ball. Matt Carlino also back in, and he's the inbounder for the Cougars. Hawes, a little step fake, and he scores. The long 2 for Tyler Hawes.
It's a good decision right there. A quickness mismatch. Knew he had the ability to just create his own space.
I think the scoreboard inside the building, they just wanted to make sure that that was recorded as a 2. So 2-point shot. And they make sure before the game goes on anymore to get that sorted out.
And now with Brandon Davies in the game, you can bet they've got to go zone here. If they go man-to-man, then expect attack in the post.
Another one of the Gonzaga Bulldogs comes off the bench. Their big man, Shemek Karnowski. Barham for 3, no good. Davies grabs a defensive board.
Good block off against Karnowski.
Here's Hawes, 1 dribble. Another bucket for Hawes.
And he has worked his way into being a great shooter, over 20 points per game. Had 42 earlier this season.
And a game against Virginia Tech, he can be very explosive. Stockton on the dribble, reverse layup, no good. Karnowski had the ball knocked away. Here comes BYU. Austin will shoot a 3. Off to the side, no good. Rebound, though, goes to Winder. Well, the Cougars starting to play a little better on the offensive end. Here's Davies. Winder steps back. No good. Good look. Jump ball. The Cougars are attacking the offensive glass. It will be Gonzaga basketball. Hawes has started to heat up. A lot of big scorers out west. And in this conference in particular, Tyler Hawes leads the way.
Well, in Santa Clara, one of the most improved teams in the country because of Kevin Foster. But there's one problem in the West Coast Conference. Regardless of how good you might be as Kevin Foster is, it's these guys. Gonzaga can just shut you down.
The impressive thing about Olynyk, I think he gets all those numbers. You saw him 5th scoring in this league. He plays 25 minutes a game.
Well, this is a team with great depth and great weapons.
Bell, another 3 attempt. Got another one. That's his 3rd of the first half. Gary Bell Jr. Davies passed up the jumper, missed the shot from closer range. Angos also back in.
We're looking for Bell again.
Maybe a little too far out, so he attacks off the dribble and is fouled. And I think that was an easy call. Gary Bell will go to the free throw line.
Gary Bell Jr., when you move the basketball, you've got to be aware of where he is. He's got the hot hand right now. knocking down the jump shot. Now, when defenders come up, he's taking them off the dribble. Smart play.
For the foul against Raul Delgado Jr., who just came in. Agustin Ambrosino also in. Junior from Argentina for BYU. Bell misses the first free throw.
Well, Bell was the guy that was responsible for Tyler Hawes' offensive woes in Spokane. He was a great on-ball defender.
Yeah, it was an impressive performance by Bell defensively. Another trap. Carlino this time dribbles through the trap pressure. Cougars will run their half-court offense.
I'd like to see Brandon Davies get something inside. He was wide open.
Austin sort of fumbled the ball. Ambrosino on the perimeter. Does get Davies a touch. Spin move, beautifully done. Draws a foul. That one's against Elias Harris, his second.
This is why Brandon Davies has to get touches. With that right foot attacking the rim and then the long step to the rim. It's a good athlete.
So foul trouble for Elias Harris, who's having an excellent senior year for the Zags. Davies' free throw is good. That's his first point of this game. They'll need many more, you figure. Olynyk back in, Harris with the 2 fouls to the bench. So one guy gets in foul trouble, you bring your first team All-American candidate back in.
Olynyk comes in next to Karnowski, who's only 7'1", 305 pounds, and just dropped 20 pounds.
And you can tell, too, he is in much better shape now than he was early in the season. Both free throws good. And BYU, despite some wobbly moments, they are hanging in this game at home against the second-ranked team in the country and perhaps the team poised to move to #1.
Olynyk with a huge mismatch inside.
So far, they haven't been able to get him the ball. They do. He passes it, and Karnowski is fouled. Now, it's a nice look, nice pass. I think Mark Few would just as soon have Olynyk just make the basket himself.
Yeah, he could have turned around and just dunked that basketball, but he's such a good passer. And he catches everything. With big guys, if they can run and they can catch it, you can teach them to do everything else. And that's what Olynyk has learned how to do, along with growing 7 inches in his junior year.
The problem is you put Karnowski on the free throw line, he's a 44% free throw shooter. So Olynyk had the chance for the dunk, perhaps. You love the unselfish play. Karnowski missed the first one. He's got one more coming. Kid from Poland, big-time talent. There are a lot of people who think that this guy has a very bright future.
He's shooting 57% from the floor. And another big guy with really good hands.
He's got to get better at the line, that's for sure. Misses both of them.
He needs to go to the Kelly Olynyk redshirt school for 1 year.
He might have to do that. Davies catches the lob. Karnowski's there. Davies dunks it home, though.
Quickness in the post is a weapon for Brandon Davies.
5-point game. Goes passed up the open shot. Karnowski with the catch. Layup no good. Here comes BYU on the move. Zylstra off the bounce, lost the handle, scramble for it. Davies picks it up, but then had it stripped away. Now Stockton on the break. Stockton all the way with the foul. What a play by David Stockton. We have had some end-to-end action here in Provo, Mark.
The quickness of Brandon Davies. Beat the big fella and dunk it home. And Stockton has nothing except a layup and a foul.
Steve Weissman in studio with an update. Number 24, Oregon, hosting Oregon State over on ESPNU. All the trees on the court, and that's Damian Dodson drilling it. Oregon down 1 right now. How about this? Duke going down by 5 to Virginia. An 8-game win streak against the Wahoos is snapped. A career-high 36 points for Joe Harris. Are they still a top seed? Find out at half. Back to Provo.
All right, interesting question. Another good question, Mark, is with the loss by Duke. Indiana's lost a couple nights ago at Minnesota. Is Gonzaga with a win here tonight? Are they in position to move up to number one?
No question. I said a month ago they're the number one team in the country, and I still believe it tonight, seeing what I'm seeing in person.
And the preseason ranking for the Zags, 21st ranked team of the country as the season began, but they have steadily climbed. Their fans are on board, that's for sure. A huge number of Zags fans traveled here to Provo. Stockton misses the free throw, so he misses the chance for the three-point play. Zags have been a little shaky at the free throw line in the early going. Just 2 of 6, 7 now as a team shooting free throws.
I'd like to see Davies and Hawes matched up on the same side of the floor every possession.
Delgado misses another BYU offensive rebound. That's been a big part of their offense in the first half.
Well, Davies number 0, and he's got a shooter surrounded by him, then he can make plays.
Gonzaga springs a double team on Davies. Carlino 3, good! And I believe they called a foul underneath the basket against Gonzaga in the scramble for a potential rebound.
For BYU, pretty simple. When Matt Carlino plays well, along with Hawes and Davies, then they are tough, and that might even be reviewable.
Well, Dower just gave him a shove. So Sam Dower, his second personal foul. BYU hits the 3 and gets the ball. That was an easy call. Now they have a delay of game warning against Dower. So it's not been a good couple seconds for Sam Dower. That's a warning. Stepped over the line, defending the inbounder.
And that's been a point of emphasis over the last week now. Not only that, but also throwing the ball to the official. They want to keep the ball in play.
Carlino, not that time, but the loose ball tracked down by Zylstra. BYU's playing hard. They're hustling. Hawes spin move. Good. Olenek misses the 3. Davies for the tie, no good.
Well, I like the look, though.
Well, the Zags are getting challenged. It has gotten so loud in here. Pangos 3, no good. Out of bounds. And the officials were about to make a call. It's off of BYU. Gonzaga ball. We'll take a look.
It's the right call.
Yep, went right off Tyler Hawes. Good call.
I'd really like to see Olenek get a touch on this possession. Gonzaga's been settling for some jump shots without pounding it inside. That's where their advantage is.
Davies comes out. He's got the 2 fouls, remember. Kafusi, who also has 2 personals, he comes in. And this is not going to be easy for the number 2 ranked team in the country. Olenek gets a touch, but on the outside.
Let's see a little dribble penetration to gaps. Everything's been on the perimeter.
Pangos from the corner. No good. He's struggling with his 3-point shot, but there's Hart with the offensive rebound. Pangos passed up the attempt this time. Olenek fouled. Almost got the shot to go. Well, the fans here have a tendency to get on officials in a pretty loud way. Mike Hart just hustled for an offensive rebound there. They were upset at a non-call. 2 free throws for Olenek. Part of what's been impressive about Olenek, how consistent he's been.
Just look at the field goal percentage. They're just so efficient. Rebounds continue to get better and more consistent along the way.
3rd best field goal shooting in the country, makes both free throws by our player efficiency rating. That is the most efficient player per minute in college basketball, Kelly Olynyk.
You know, how good is he? Last season, when you game planned against Gonzaga, you worried about their guards. Now you worry about their front line. That's how good he is.
Pangos called for the foul. Hawes to the free throw line. And we're seeing Tyler Hawes, who is a big-time scorer, just a sophomore. We're seeing him start to play his game.
Well, his father, Marty Hawes, went for 40 points in the game for BYU back in the late 80s. And Tyler very proud of the fact that he outscored his dad 42 earlier this season. And I asked him what he learned from his father. He got cut from his third grade basketball team. First of all, I don't know how you get cut from a third grade basketball team, but he did. And he went to his dad and said, "Dad, I want to be a basketball player." So Marty worked his son out, and he taught him the value of fingers and toes. Because the body might get tired, but fingers and toes never get tired. You can always shoot the ball well with your fingers and your toes lined up.
And that'll be very disappointing for Hawes. 87% free throw shooter. He missed them both. Dower splits the defense. He draws a foul. They're starting to get the ball again inside.
And that's their key. That's where they are so dangerous. And that's why they can be a Final Four team, because they've got such great depth and talent in the paint.
Third foul against Bronson Kafusi. So Davies has 2. Kafusi now has 3, still in the first half with 5:18 to go. Dower at the free throw line makes the first. And Davies with those 2 fouls back in. Going to be a challenge for BYU and their big men to hang in this game.
It's already been a mix and match with the foul trouble for BYU.
Second free throw for the lefty, makes them both. Gonzaga back up by 6. Just 6 of 11 for the Zags at the free throw line. Here's Davies, finds Hawes cutting to the basket for the lay-in.
That's where Tyler Hawes, known as the guy that likes to settle for the jump shot, but he moves so well without the ball and uses his defender.
Olenek by Cusick, he's fouled. They're upset about that call. I think he just got flat out knocked to the ground.
Watch Tyler Hawes, number 3. Watch him use his defender. He stops, he plays at different speeds. As soon as the defender went lock-kneed, he went directly to the basket. That's a great cut.
Hawes, just a sophomore. He's already gone over the 1,000-point mark for his career. Well, he's got a chance to set records at BYU. Olenek misses a free throw. Well, the problems continue for the Zags at the line. Austin in. Brock Zylstra comes out. Gonzaga as a team is 6 of 12 at the free throw line. One more. Olenek makes that one. And he's into double figures now with 10. Gary Bell Jr. also has 10 for the Zags.
I think the more BYU can play inside-out basketball, the more successful they're going to be.
Austin knocked to the ground. Dower. Well, that'll be his third. Sam Dower playing with 2 fouls. Gave a little hip shove, I think, and knocked Nate Austin down.
And look how he just rides up. Every time you see a defender, especially in the poster, anywhere for that matter, stand up and rise, that's a foul waiting to happen.
Now Dower with 3 fouls will have to come out of this game. 4 points, 3 fouls. Drew Barham, a very different kind of player, outside shooter, checks in. Now Nate Austin, not a great free throw shooter himself, 56%. Misses the front end.
Quick lineup in right now for Gonzaga.
Including Bell on the perimeter. BYU guarding that 3-point line.
But nothing in the gaps, no penetration off the bounce into the gaps of the zone.
Hart passes up the 3 and shoots that 3. No good.
I like the ball movement, but I don't like the attack mode off the dribble.
Carlino cut off. Slips it to Brandon Davies. Mismatch. Davies, no good. Loose ball. Barham comes away with it on the ground and gets it to Olenek. Pangos deep three, no good. Hart, another hustle play for Mike Hart, but it's out of bounds off of him. Well, Pangos is really struggling. He's 1 of 6 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3. Emotions running high in this game. Zags have the 30-25 lead in Provo. David Stockton and his Zags, bodies flying everywhere. Mark Few knows this is a big game. And the number 2 ranked team in the country with the 5-point lead.
Steve Weissman in studio. Coming up on the Land Rover halftime report. Top 5 teams continue to tumble. What Virginia did to Duke for the first time in 11 years and how that affects the projected top seeds in the tournament. Jay Williams, Bruce Pearl, you don't want to miss what they have to say. Back to Provo, David Mark.
All right, Steve, we'll look forward to that. Gonzaga, 2nd-ranked team in the country as of now, leading here in Provo, 30-25 on senior night for the Cougars. And there were a lot of emotions. 5 seniors, including 3 starters, Davey Zylstra and Craig Cusick. And all 3 with very different stories, different careers here at BYU, but all 3 have meant a lot to this Cougars program.
Well, Brandon Davies was disciplined so publicly around the country, and he decided to stay at BYU. The easy thing would have been to transfer, but I admire his guts for staying here at BYU, graduating from BYU, finishing his career here at BYU. That takes courage, in my view.
Yeah, that, of course, 2 years ago on the Jimmer Fredette BYU Cougars. That magical year for BYU. A couple of seasons ago. Carlino runner. What a shot by Matt Carlino.
Over Olynyk. Well played.
3-point game again. Just over 3 minutes to go, first half.
The stingy zone.
Bell 3, short, loose ball. Cusick lost it out of bounds. So looking to run, lost the chance for the possession.
Watch Carlino as he goes up, and he uses the glass right there. That's why he's successful. He reads the big defender coming, and he takes it off the glass. That's how you beat a shot blocker.
Carlino's got 5. Gonzaga got a break and got the ball back. Arm from the corner. That 3 no good. So the shot's not going down now for Gonzaga.
And Gonzaga settling for those contested 3s. That's exactly what the BYU zone is designed to do.
Gonzaga, how about this for the first half? They are now 3 of 15 from 3-point range. Carlino again gets his own miss. 1-point game.
Carlino's playing well. Davies is playing well. Haas is playing well. That's the 1-2-3 punch for the win for BYU. Those 3 have to play well.
Olynyk swarm knocked away. Hustle play by Hart to jump on the loose ball, but the arrow favors BYU. So the Cougars are going to get this ball back.
He is completely surrounded. And when you bring the ball down around 4 white jerseys, that's what's going to happen. His greatest advantage is keep the ball above your head, have vision, and pass. That's usually what Olynyk does.
Gonzaga is led by as many as 9. BYU has not led yet in this game. And they still have it. Rebound Olynyk.
You can't fall in love with the jump shot. You got to stay with your big guys and get them touches inside.
And again, another possession where just about everything on the perimeter for the Zags. Pangos finds Barm, and he's fouled shooting a 3. So that was a pretty heads-up play by Drew Barm. He knew the big man was flying out there. He'll go to the free throw line.
Watch the shot fake. He then just waits for contact, invites contact.
And that was a good play by the transfer from Memphis, who has already graduated and yet still has another year of eligibility left. He graduated in a hurry at Memphis, so he'll be a player this year and next. The officials coming to the monitor and presumably checking to see whether that was a 2 or a 3 attempt. We'll see if we can tell whether his foot was behind the line.
You know what's interesting about this play is that Drew Barham, obviously known as a three-point shooting threat, and the Saturday report says challenge every shot, and it gets in your head, and sometimes you're a little bit over-aggressive. Clearly a three-point attempt.
And so they take a quick look at it, confirm it's 3 free throws coming up for Drew Barham. Well, Elias Harris on the bench for the Zags. He went out, Mark, with 2 personal fouls, and things changed for Gonzaga. They have not played as well without Harris.
Yeah, the focus has gone clearly to the perimeter and away from the paint.
Dower also has the foul, so just the one big man in for Gonzaga. It's changed their offense. 2 more free throws coming for Barham. And a high-low game that you've been talking about, that has been unavailable. The way that Gonzaga's big men play together, but at the moment only one true big on the floor. Stockton will come in for Pangos. It's been a struggle for Kevin Pangos, who has played at a very high level. Barham made them all.
Smart play paid off big time.
So on a night where lots are struggling at the free throw line, Barham made 3 in a row there. 4-point lead for Gonzaga. Hawes had it poked away momentarily, got it back. And he makes a smart play, threw the ball up, draws a foul. So just almost exactly what Barham did, Tyler Hawes does on this end.
It's another scouting report foul. No patience defensively. You go for the first ball fake. Next thing you know, Tyler Hawes is getting his rhythm at the free throw line.
Just about halfway to his season average. Hawes, who missed 2 free throws already. That is a rare occurrence, makes this one.
He's a fun kid to talk to. Very, very competitive. He's been consistent. He's a versatile guy because offensively he's had layers to his game. Of course, he had the 1 point against Gary Bell Jr. when they played against Spokane. That is not the case tonight in Provo.
Much different night for Hawes and a much different game for BYU.
Well, this thing was over in the first half in Spokane. It's not over tonight by a long shot.
1 minute to go. Barham 3, and he came up way short.
And Olynyk again gets no touch in the half court.
Carlino down the lane. Carlino short himself. Fight for the loose ball, and Ian Harwood, who just came in the game, grabs it away. Here's Zylstra off on the 3. Stockton knocked to the ground. He's fouled. A rough and tumble here in Provo. David Stockton will be the free throw shooter. Double bonus for Gonzaga.
One of the questions about BYU was, would they stand up and fight? Would they be physical in this game? This is not a team known for being necessarily physically tough in the West Coast Conference, but man, they have come out physically tough here tonight.
Stockton, who had the beautiful end-to-end play earlier this half, 2 free throws for him. Makes the first, the son of the all-time Gonzaga great, John Stockton, who is such a beloved figure in this state for all his years with the Utah Jazz. I'm sure some mixed feelings about David here in the building tonight.
Well, pretty good basketball family. Brother Houston plays for the Grizzlies of the University of Montana. And brother Michael plays at Westminster College.
1 more free throw for Stockton. And maybe not mixed feelings based on the crowd's reaction to Stockton at the line. Tough kid, though, David Stockton. Made them both. Mark Few wants a timeout. Just a 3-second difference between game clock and shot clock. We'll take a quick timeout ourselves. Gonzaga, second-ranked team of the country, leads 35-31. ESPN College Basketball available live anytime, anywhere on your computer, tablet, or smartphone at watchespn.com and with the Watch ESPN app. Sure is the time of year for that with all the great college hoops. I think it's been a great season in college basketball, and it's a long way from being over.
Had a nice long flight this morning from St. Louis to Salt Lake City. It's a nice app.
Caught up on some college hoops. BYU with the ball. There is that difference. Game clock, shot clock. Cougars acting like they're essentially holding for what they hope will be the final look. It's Carlino against Stockton. That's the matchup here.
Watch for Tyler Haws cutting off screen number 3 in the corner. Brandon Davies with the on-ball screen for Carlino.
Now he'll set it and slips to the basket. Olynyk helped out. The shot clock might have gone off. No whistle, though, and the horn will sound. The shot didn't go down. The heave from Stockton wouldn't have counted. It is halftime here in Provo. You can tell it's a big night for the Zags, the way Mark Few has reacted all throughout this first half. All right, halftime score. Zags lead 35-31. Steve Weissman, Bruce Pearl, Jay Williams coming up now with our Land Rover halftime report.
All right, Dave, this is the Land Rover halftime report, and we begin with a thriller in Charlottesville. Duke and Virginia. Seth Curry and company looking for their 3rd straight win first half. Wahoos went out to a 9-0 lead. Akeel Mitchell doing his thing.
And Jontel Evans with a really good pass. He's being the leader of this team, and this was a mismatch for UVA all night long. Joe Harris had the physical strength to overpower the Duke guards.
Once again, Evans to Mitchell. He had 19 points, 12 rebounds. Virginia pulling away up 11. Still in the second, Coach Joe Harris was smooth.
You've got to get out there on 3. Mason Plumlee's got to trust his help and jump out on the 3-point shooter.
Then off the miss, it's Justin Anderson. Virginia, that is a well-deserved court storming in Charlottesville. 73-68. 11 years to the day, the last time UVA beat a top
I'd rather
team.
not talk about it. I'd rather not talk about it. If that's a jab at me, I get it.
Jay Williams, Coach Bruce Pearl, Steve Weissman on the Land Rover halftime report. All right, so another top 5 team goes down this week. We already saw Indiana. We already saw Michigan. Coach, what do you take from this one?
This was not an upset. This is a Virginia team that has not lost on their home floor all season long. They've already beaten North Carolina. They've already beaten NC State. This is not a surprise. They controlled the tempo. They were physical. They had a guy named Joe Harris, who might be the best player in the ACC. He is in constant motion. You've got to stay attached to him here, Rashid Suleiman. You can't go third man through. Mike Tobey picks him off. There is no help. He's got an old school game, a physical game, making the tough 2. Watch Joe Harris move off the ball on the backside. Comes off the down screen again. Rashid, hip pocket. You can't go third man through. He gives him some space. He can make the open 3-point shot.
You know, Joe Harris is really good. He's probably the ACC Player of the Year between him and Shane Larkin. And when you look at this Duke basketball team, you have to question their strength is shooting the 3 and getting the ball down low to Mason Plumlee. Mason Plumlee cannot be in an operating position when he's posting up 15 feet outside the basket. If I'm trying to gain post position on a coach, I have to get low to the ground and explode into his hips. Mason Plumlee's trying to catch the ball standing straight up.
And then every time they got it to him, they double-teamed him. He kicked it out, and they never reposted Jay. They never got him back inside where he had an advantage on the inside. He only got like 7 shots.
All right, so let's see how this affects the top seeds overall, Joe Lunardi's bracket right now. Yesterday, we saw Michigan losing, so that put Kansas in the top 4 overall seeds. And today, well, we see a loss for Duke, and they're out. Now, Gonzaga has moved into one of the top 4 spots, as well as Indiana, Kansas. And look at Miami down there. They're sneaking in now.
By the way, if Miami loses at Duke, look for a team like Georgetown to maybe come in and replace them as the number 1 seed as well. Revolving door, nonstop.
Or Duke moving back in.
Or Duke moving back in. Who knows?
It's constantly changing because there's upsets almost every single night in college basketball.
That's why I have 4 question marks. Who are your number 1 seeds? 4 question marks. We'll find out in 2 weeks.
19 top 5 teams go down to unranked teams so far this season. A record.
And we could see Gonzaga go down. They're only up 4 right now on BYU. What stood out to you so far in the first half?
Well, the fact that Gonzaga only made 3 3-point baskets. Gonzaga needs to shoot the basketball well to win this basketball game. Why? Because BYU plays a variety of zones. They make you shoot the ball from perimeter. And I don't like the fact that Gonzaga is not finding Kelly Olynyk in spots to score against this zone.
I would like for the Zags to put Olynyk at the back of the zone.
Yes, near the basket.
Maybe flash a guard across. They can't get him the ball. So flash a guard across, let a guard catch the ball in the middle and make a play, and stop settling for threes.
Well,
Start attacking the rim.
The only guy making threes for him is Gary Bell.
Exactly.
Now, Gary Bell's not their best three-point shooter, but he's made all 3 of the three-point shots. He's a 37% shooter. He got obviously Gonzaga into a good start.
Yep.
They were going for #1 seed, and they're going for #1 ranking. They've never been there before in Mark Few's 14 years.
Yeah, it's a big night. Should be a good second half. Those are the top seeds, but what about like the last 4 in? According to Joe Lunardi, Temple, they were taken to the wire by the Detroit Titans. We'll tell you what happened next.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the Capital One Cash Rewards Card with a 50% annual bonus. This halftime report is presented by Land Rover. Above and beyond.
Steve Weissman, Bruce Pearl, Jay Williams back with you. Thad Mott, Ohio State looking for its 3rd straight win, taking on Northwestern. This one would be tight, second half. Buckeyes up 4. Evan Ravenel, he loses focus, and coach tells him all about it, right, Bruce?
You are on the road. You've got to behave, young man. You can't get after those officials.
After the game, he joked that he was asking what he wanted for his pizza after the game. Aaron Kraft, so cool, calm, collected. Ohio State up 4, about 2 minutes to play. Deshaun Thomas, what was the difference, Jay?
Well, Deshaun Thomas brought it tonight. He brings it every night, but Linzel Smith Jr. really stepped up and knocked out some big trays.
10-point win for the Buckeyes going away. How about Oregon hosting Oregon State? Civil War #2. This one over on ESPNU. First half, Roberto Nelson for 3. This would be some foreshadowing for later in the half. Just over 5 minutes left. Oregon down 1. E.J. Singler to Dominic Artis. The importance of having him back, Jay.
Well, he's another guard that allows him to handle the basketball, also can shoot the 3. Oregon needs to win this game to stay on top of the Pac-12.
There's the foreshadowing. Nelson at the buzzer. Oregon State up 41-34 at the half. Meanwhile, on the bubble, Temple.
Is that the Birdman?
There's a lot of ink on that,
Is that
boy.
the Birdman?
A lot of ink.
Thought he was playing for the
Write it
Heat.
down. Hey,
Look at
that's
this.
what they do on
Look
8
at this,
Mile.
Doug Anderson.
Woo!
Say hello, Doug Anderson.
How long does he have to hang in the air, though? Say hello to my little friend.
What's the degree of difficulty on that one?
10.
Detroit up 8 at the break. Under 2 minutes to go in the game. Khalif Wyatt, Jay, just straight took over.
He's the one guy that you have to find in transition, and it was big shot after big shot. And how about a step back? Kids at home, you want to work on your step back? Right here.
Boom.
Temple survives. Wyatt, all 20 of his points in the second half. They end the game on a 14-4 run. So what does that mean? Joe Lunardi's last 4 in, first 4 out. Temple remaining in the last 4 in. Virginia with their win. Now they are safe.
They're in.
And Kentucky sort of on the bubble right now. We will be right back.
This halftime report is presented by Land Rover. Above and beyond. Welcome back to the Land Rover halftime report.
Well, last night it was Steph Curry. Tonight it's Joakim Noah. 23 points, 21 rebounds, 11 blocks for the Bulls as they beat the Sixers, guys. Talk about it.
That's who he is. And I actually really appreciate the fact that he doesn't try to be the guy that scores points every night. He just does what he has to do on the defensive end.
Absolutely incredible. Back to the college game. Roy Williams, UNC taking on Clemson first half. P.J. Hairston outside for 3 of his 11. As the Tar Heels have really been moving up, playing quite well, Coach.
Roy Williams has found something here with these 4 guards. 5 guys scoring double figures. They're getting out defensively, turning the opponents over, spreading the floor, shooting the 3 ball. They got it going on right now, Jay.
Well, our Land Rover above and beyond performance goes to none other than Joe Harris. A career-high 36 points, Jay. His performance, break it down.
He has a relentless pursuit of the basketball. And like Coach said earlier during SportsCenter, he plays with constant motion without the basketball. If you stand up for 1 split second, he'll crack into you, come up a down screen, knock down a big-time throw.
And that's the reason Virginia upset the 3rd-ranked team in the country. Will number 2 go down? Kelly Olynyk and Gonzaga up 4 at the half.
Bracket Builder Week.
Well, it has been a fun night here in Provo. Welcome back to ESPN's Thursday Night Showcase presented by T. Rowe Price, a part of Bracket Builder Week. Start of the second half, and Gonzaga with a 35-31 lead over BYU. Dave Fleming, Mark Adams here in Provo. Really entertaining first half, Mark. And we did see in a lot of different moments why Gonzaga is such a good team.
Well, inside, they are so dynamic, and I thought that Gonzaga fell in love with the jump shot in the first part of the second half here. They've got to stay away from that, but inside out is where it works. Elias Harris steps to the short corner and makes himself available, and because he drags defenders, really, look at the gap in the defense, and Olynyk fills that gap. Kelly Olynyk has a very good nose for the ball and what to do next based upon circumstance. And then Gonzaga got away from their big guys and simply fell in love with the jump shot. Gonzaga has to avoid this type of offensive mentality in the second half to win this basketball game. Watch Brandon Davies and watch Karnowski low. Watch how he locks his knees. As soon as Brandon Davies sees the locked knees, what does he do? He spins and attacks the bigger and slower defender. That is smart offense right there by Brandon Davies, and he's the one guy that can attack the bigs of Gonzaga.
Our one-on-one update, both guys really playing well. Hawes, who had the nightmare game in Spokane, has played at a very high level tonight, and as usual, Kelly Olynyk doing the same. It's Gonzaga ball to start the second half, up by 4 on the road in this hostile environment. Kevin Pangos, who had a tough first half, 1 of 7 and 0 of 6 from three-point range. And Gary Bell did shoot the ball well for the Zags. Has an open look, and that's another 3 for Bell.
The big guys much more active, screening for each other inside. They're looking for paint touches.
Davies gets a touchdown low, steps through. Good defense, though, I think, by Olynyk, forced the missed shot. Pangos finds Bell. Harris, one dribble, and he throws it away. Turnover, Zags. Carlino on the move.
Davies just passed up a great shot.
Cusick hits the 3.
I love that kid because he is not afraid to take and make big shots. He hit the game winner against Utah State right at the buzzer. He's a gamer.
Yeah, earlier this week, a big win for BYU against one of their in-state rivals. Goes to Harris, who had the 2 fouls and was limited at the end of this first half. Bell in and out this time. Hawes gets a touch for Brandon Davies, stripped away, gets it back from the baseline. No good.
Boy, Harris is such a good backside defensive rebounder.
Gonzaga clearly missed Elias Harris with the foul trouble. When he was off the court, they were a different team. Pangos still off the mark. Zylstra just didn't want to slow down, had it stripped away. Didn't see Mike Hart.
Mike Hart does a lot of little things for this basketball team.
Olynyk, the catch, and he missed the layup. Got his own miss and scores.
He plays at a different speed than everybody else. He's so quick to the ball, and he makes it look easy while he's doing it.
Hawes hounded and harassed by Hart. Mike Hart knocks it out of bounds. That's a guy Mark was just talking about, one of the ultimate hustle team. We want to call them glue guys, whatever, in all of college basketball. Almost never shoots the ball, but does a lot of things well.
Yeah, Mark Few loves him. He's probably one of the great team guys he's ever coached.
6-point lead for Coach Few's Zags. BYU playing very tough here tonight, though, with the ball. Hawes gets the touch. Misses the jumper. Harris tried to tap it to himself, couldn't do it. Zylstra from the corner, no good. And there's Mike Hart.
Might have been a foul.
Hart just was sent crashing to the floor. Pangos, meanwhile, had it poked away from behind. And Hart sort of slow to join the party on the offensive end.
Watch Hart. He just gets thrown out of bounds. He's looking at the official like, wait a minute, I may not be a star on this team, but I deserve a little call every once in a while.
Just a little hip check there. The three-point shooting has not been real sharp for Gonzaga, particularly everybody outside of Gary Bell. He's been the one guy. Harris down low. Out of bounds off of BYU. Cougars thought it should be their ball. Zags will keep it with 17 to shoot.
Boy, Harris gives you a big target inside. Look at the big, strong shoulders on that guy. Creates space for defensive rebounds when he goes to backside boards.
You talked about his rebounding prowess. He's the second leading rebounder in Gonzaga basketball history, fifth leading scorer. So I think truly will go down as one of their all-time greats. Shot clock under 10. Pangos. And Gonzaga's got to shoot the ball. Pangos just gets it off. No good. Davies snatches the ball away.
Either that shot clock is really silent or it's not working.
Now, I haven't heard the buzzer. It is loud in here. That's a foul against the Zags and Gary Bell. That's some foul trouble for him. He is a key player. He's got 3 personals. Stockton comes to the scorer's table, and Bell's going to come out of this game.
You know, something to keep your eye on. Shot clock is not reviewable unless you feel like there's a timing error, and then you can come and review. So keep your eye on that.
It is a couple times in this game. Pangos strips the ball away on the inbound play. Stockton bounces it to Olenek for the reverse jam.
And that's the delay of game right there. That's exactly.
The tempers are starting to flare here. Olenek, Michael Greenstein, the official, blew the whistle. And now he's screaming at Dave Rose to get back to his bench. And they're going to call it a different kind of warning on that play, I think.
This is a point of emphasis right now to keep the game in motion. You can't just hold on to the ball. You can't throw it to the official. It just came out in this last week, and so there's a formal warning the first time, and then it could be a technical foul the second time. Dave Rose obviously wanted the technical foul.
Carlino picked up his dribble, trying to find somewhere to go with the ball. Hawes being harassed by Hart. Here's Davies. The stutter step move, offensive foul. He knocked Olenek to the ground and is called for the personal, his third. And he taps his chest as if to say, my mistake.
The thing I like best about Kelly Olynyk is that he moves his feet. Just watch his feet. Just watch his feet. He's constantly active, and he puts himself in a guarding position.
Gonzaga playing half-court offense here, leading by 8.
Olynyk just got away with a big push up top.
Great look from Hart to Harris, who got moved out of the paint. Olynyk tips it up. Second try. No good. Whistle. And that's a foul against Olynyk. And Davies might have gotten a bloody nose or a bloody lip out of it. This has become a very emotional and physical game. Davies stunned after the scramble underneath.
It is senior night in Provo, and a lot at stake. A #1 ranking potentially for Gonzaga.
Steve Weissman in studio with an update over on ESPNU right now. How about Oregon State? The Beavers 3-12 in conference, Ducks 11-4, but it's the Civil War. It doesn't matter. Joe Burton and his Mohawk doing work. 5-point lead. Duke upset by Virginia tonight. College Basketball Live following the Zags and BYU. Coach Bruce Pearl and I will break down the whole night of upsets. Back to Provo.
It has been a night of upsets. BYU trying to pull one themselves here at home against the second-ranked team in the country. This is the highest-ranked team that has ever come here to Provo to play BYU in their basketball history. Twice before, the Cougars have beaten a #2 ranked team, but it's been a while 2-12 all time against teams first or second in the polls.
You know, 81 against that UCLA team. That's back in the Danny Ainge era. One of the great guards to ever play here at BYU, of course. I don't think Digger Phelps will ever forget Danny Ainge.
Danny Ainge, that's one of the all-time great plays in NCAA tournament history. His game winner against Notre Dame to send BYU to the Sweet 16. Hawes created a little opening and scores.
Well, he's playing a lot physically tougher tonight than he did in Spokane. He has answered the challenge.
He's got 14. Pangos maybe a little shy from the outside. He has had a brutal shooting night, 0 for 8 from 3. Harris and Hart set 2 screens. Kick ball. Austin deflected the pass intended for Pangos. Now Jimmer Fredette, whose memory certainly lives on here. He was a great player for BYU, now in the NBA. Not here tonight personally, although his spirit is definitely here.
Led him to the Sweet 16, led the country in scoring. Naismith Player of the Year. It's a pretty good career,
I would say. Stockton with the pass fake and the shot. Hart there in offensive rebound position and gets an extra possession for the Zags.
Well, and that's the downside of playing the zone. You really have to gang rebound. But I think it's been effective against Gonzaga. They have not shown the ability to get into a gap and make a play.
Good look from Harris, and Pangos finally hits one from outside. His first 3 of the game.
Isn't it amazing how shot percentages go way up when you go inside out?
Davies, good move from Brandon Davies.
That's against Olynyk, who pinned him along the baseline.
Davies got some of the best post moves in college hoops. That pass was deflected. It was headed out of bounds, but it was tipped by BYU. That was a break for the Zags, and there is Brandon Davies. Mark Pope, you mentioned the assistant for BYU, Mark. He has done a great job working with Davies on those moves close to the basket.
Yeah, Mark Pope, one of the great assistant coaches in college basketball. I love the way he works with big guys. And I'll tell you, he also works the perimeter guys hard. Today, after shoot-around, he had Tyler Hawes working on his game, and it's paying off.
Yeah, I agree with you. One of the better assistant coaches, I think, in the game. Stockton, a little bump. Shot clock winding down. Pangos sees it, heaves one up, no good. Rebound Davies.
Boy, everybody watching Gonzaga tonight, every coach is saying, you know what, I think we can zone those guys.
Here's Hart off the missed shot. And the Zags have struggled against this zone. Harris got great position, missed the shot. Olynyk the follow dunk. And I think they're going to call the foul before the. We're having a hard time hearing whistles, the shot clock buzzer. You cannot hear anything in here. They blew the whistle before the dunk, so it's a foul on the shot.
Boy, look how deep Elias Harris catches the basketball. I mean, that's how I judge big guys. When they can catch the ball that deep, you know they're using angles, they're using their physical force inside. That is strength.
Now the foul against Davies is his 4th. So a missed free throw by Harris. And the Zags have cost themselves another point at the line. But the big story has to be Brandon Davies in his 4th personal foul.
He's going to take a seat for a while.
Still 13.5 minutes to go in this one. And he comes out, Kafusi back in. So 4 personals against the Cougars' most effective big man by far.
And once again, BYU becomes a donut team. A lot on the outside, not much inside.
Olynyk trying to deny the ball there. Knocks it out of bounds. Corey Calvert in the game. And BYU has used its depth tonight. There's some games where BYU really shortens the bench. Not tonight. They have played just about everybody.
You almost have to against Gonzaga, or else they will just physically wear you down.
Pause, another contested shot.
Fingers and toes. Apparently he's learned that lesson pretty well from his father. His toes were well aligned and his fingers with a soft touch.
He is such a good scorer. Dower, pass deflected, stolen away. Here's Hawes, pull up. Not that time, and Dower rips the ball away. Then, though, the heady play by Calvert, the guy we were just talking about, but he throws it away, and Hart is fouled in the open court. So one good play and one not so good.
Watch Tyler Hazard. Watch his feet. Watch how he gets those squared. He squares his shoulders, and then that soft touch right there. And that's just repetition after repetition. That's from going to 6 a.m. with his father to the local gym and just working on shot after shot after shot and his release point.
Kyle Dranginis for the Bulldogs in for the first time off the bench, so Gonzaga using some of its depth. Harris out of the game for the moment. Dranginis enters it to Dower.
Boy, Dower retreats right there. He had an avenue to the basket. There he is again.
With the left hand, the bucket good.
You love it when big guys give it up and then repost.
And his teammate found him, get him the ball. Kafusi, one dribble, foul. It's a good foul by David Stockton. Kafusi's not a great free throw shooter. Why give up the layup? Make him earn it at the line. He'll be shooting a couple of free throws first. We remind you, NBA Friday. First key NBA countdown at 7:30 Eastern. Two really good games. The Red Hot Grizzlies against the Heat at 8 Eastern. Then 10:30 Oklahoma City on the road against the Nuggets in Denver on ESPN.
I have a new favorite player in the NBA.
You do?
Kenneth Faried of the Denver Nuggets.
He's fun to watch.
I love his effort. He's like Dennis Rodman without the trouble.
He is. He reminds you a lot of Rodman, the skills he brings to the table. Kafusi, you saw the ragged form at the free throw line. But Faried and the Nuggets, particularly at home, that is a dangerous team. Of course, Oklahoma City is playing at such a high level. He makes that one, so 1 of 2 at the line. This is still very much a game with 12 minutes to go. Gonzaga on the road, leading by 7.
Gonzaga a little confused against his own. Initially burned 10 seconds off the clock.
Bell back in the game with the 3 fouls. Dranginis finally gets a touch for Olynyk, who was swarmed, so he got it to Stockton. Dower offensive rebound. Bell passed up the 3, shoots the 2, and gets it to go.
That's the play. That's the key. That's what opens the lock against the zone.
Bell, very efficient, 15 points in this game. He's played well. 9-point lead for the Zags. Calvert spins baseline, shot partially deflected, but there's Austin to stick it back in.
Nate Austin, one of those energy guys. Good help defender. He's going to take a charge or two, you know that. Anything you can get at him offensively is a bonus.
Olynyk, the catch, one dribble. He is just hammered by Kafusi. Hammered. And the Zags are furious. Man, was that a hard foul. Olynyk just got destroyed there. That's the 4th foul against Kafusi, and they have to call that.
Yep.
You just can't do that. So that's an intentional foul. The flagrant foul against Kafusi, who plays football, but in this sport you can't do that. Olynyk knocked to the ground. Gonzaga having to play tough guy basketball, leading by 7. (50-43) Gonzaga with the lead here at BYU. Dave Fleming, Mark Adams. Before we went to break, Brandon Kafusi there, number 44. Flagrant 1 foul against Kafusi as he came down hard on Kelly Olynyk. And Mark, it's hard to say this was not the right call.
No, there's a flagrant 1 technical foul. My personal opinion is that it's excessive. I think this is a flagrant 2 technical foul. I think that it should be 2 free throws plus possession. And I believe it should be an ejection. That's my opinion.
They did not call it that way. The fans here are still furious about it. Olynyk makes the first of 2. I don't know how you can argue that that's not a flagrant 1 at least. Kafusi on the bench. He and Davies each have 4 personals. Olynyk misses that free throw, though.
The flagrant 2 personal foul is as follows. A flagrant 2 personal foul shall be a personal foul that involves contact with an opponent that is not only excessive, but also severe or extreme while the ball is live.
Well, that's the rule book definition, and you could make a case that that's exactly what that was. But Kaufusi, lucky that he's still in this game. Stockton on the move. Dranginis launches a three, hits a three.
And that's how you answer that situation.
Well, that turned into a big possession for Gonzaga, that's for sure. Here are the Cougars. Calvert having to play minutes here in the second half. With Davies on the bench, they're going to lean a lot on Tyler Hawes, who gets a touch against Bell. Hawes, the double team came and he gave it up. And Stockton, good help defense there. Loose ball on the floor, jump ball. The arrow, it'll stay with BYU.
Watch Stockton go cat and mouse with the ball. First, he comes and helps out on the ball, then he closes out on the ball. Look at him move his feet. Look at the anticipation right there. And that's about as good as it gets as far as help defense down low and then cat and mouse the basketball.
6 seconds on the shot clock for BYU. Cusick, a runner, short, rebound. Another scramble for it. This time it's Austin and the timeout BYU. The bench got the timeout while Austin pounced on the ball. Gonzaga with a big possession a couple seconds ago. They've expanded the lead up by 11. Dave Fleming, Mark Adams in Provo. Gonzaga with a 54-43 lead against BYU. Such great basketball history here in Provo. And Mark, you've given it some thought and come up with an all-time BYU team.
Well, Jimmer Fredette right there, Sweet 16 in 2011, led the country in scoring. Naismith Player of the Year award. Jimmer Fredette. How about Devin Durant? 1984 was drafted by Indianapolis, a two-time academic All-American. Devin Durant getting it done in many ways. Michael Smith, 1988, finished his career as the BYU rebound leader and second leading scorer all time at that time, behind Danny Ainge. And Kessler coaches back before all the foreign players came to the United States. This was one of the first and made All-American honors in 1973. And Danny Ainge, 1981 to the Elite Eight. In fact, Digger Phelps still has nightmares about Danny Ainge as BYU took on Notre Dame, and historically one of the most significant wins in BYU history. Having coached in the Intermountain West and on the Pacific West, I've got a lot of respect for the history of the BYU program.
And I think you'd have to say that Danny Ainge, the all-time great player in the history of this program. Jimmer Fredette had the greatest single season, I think, in BYU history. But Danny Ainge, who was such a great all-around athlete, baseball player drafted by Major League Baseball. On the inbound, here's Tyler Hawes with the foul. Nice inbound play for the Cougars, who need a little burst.
When Tyler moves, watch, he sets a screen number 3. Watch him roll off the screen right there. He reads the defender, pins him, and comes right to the ball. Very well-designed play as Cutters moved out of the paint, allowed Hawes to take advantage.
Free throw good, so he completes the three-point play, and that's just what BYU needed as Gonzaga had expanded its lead. Hawes up to 19 in the game. Again, the zone look on defense for the Cougars. It has been effective against this very good offensive team.
Harris battling for position inside against Davies. Remember, Davies with 4 fouls. He's the guy you want to attack.
Yeah, back in the game with 4 and still just under 10 minutes to go. Dower against Zylstra had it knocked away. The Zags with 8 seconds on the shot clock. They get Pangos in the game and try to get a good shot off.
You know, it might be interesting to get Brandon Davies into a tough situation, flash Harris to the high post, and attack Davies off the dribble.
Shot clock winding down. Harris will launch. Harris, no good. Here's BYU. Zylstra, Davies running the floor. Couldn't quite get a good grip on it. Now he gets it back. Working against Elias Harris, getting closer to the basket. Davies scores.
Shake and bake in the paint. I haven't seen that for a long time.
Dower answers on this end. Davies gets another touch. Why not? Davies missed the shot, though, this time.
Well, he turns over that left shoulder a lot. Somebody could camp on that thing and draw the charge.
Guinness fouled as he goes to the basket.
Watch Brandon Davies as he reposts, gets a little bit deeper. Now watch him. Upper body, little fake right there. That little juke with the right shoulder and then back over the left shoulder. But the scouting report says camp on his left shoulder. You can draw charges if you camp on that left shoulder.
Free throws for Kyle Dranginis. Misses the first. Another player who has redshirted just like that guy. Gonzaga has used the red shirt probably as effectively or more so than any program in college hoops. Dranginis sat out last year as a true freshman. Big-time athlete, kid from Idaho.
And BYU has used the 2-year mission as well as anybody in the country. Better. 2 years could make a difference.
Big, strong players traditionally here at BYU. 2 missed free throws for the Zags.
In fact, 4 married players on the BYU roster. Very mature.
It's an experienced, mature team. Zylstra, layup, he missed it. Got his miss back, and it's rejected by Olynyk. Well, Gonzaga got away with one there because Zylstra had a wide open look and just missed the shot.
Well, that's the value of a guy that can erase mistakes. Shot blockers are something that are just so valuable because it's a talent-related activity that just erases teammates' mistakes.
A couple of blocks for Olynyk to go along with 15 points. Over the top play for Davies. Couldn't get a shot off. Oz double teamed and fouled. I wonder if they're going to call that a shooting foul or not. And they don't. So it's a personal against Pangos. New shot clock for BYU. They'll inbound the ball. 8:16 to go. Number 2 ranked team in the country trying to survive a test on the road. And BYU has come to play here tonight. Playing very tough and physical. Cusick, dangerous pass, and BYU does get it. That was not easy. Cusick with the left hand, a blocking foul. And the senior Craig Cusick drawing the foul.
Let's look and see if the secondary defender is inside the arc. Yep, he's got a foot inside the arc. That's a good call.
Makes it an easy call.
Sure
when you
does.
have that arc there, and that's the rule. The secondary defender cannot be in that area. Cusick misses the first of 2. Both teams have really struggled at the free throw line. BYU as a team now 7 of 15, under 50%. Kafusi with his 4 fouls back in. Winder goes to the bench.
And Cusick's father was diagnosed with cancer last week, was in the hospital when Craig Cusick hit that big shot to beat Utah State.
It's been an unbelievable emotional time for Cusick. Now the clock stops. Mark Few calls a timeout after Cusick makes 1 of 2 free throws. 3 timeouts remaining for Gonzaga. Mark was just referencing it from earlier this week against Utah State in this building. Final seconds of a tie game. It was Matt Carlino who got the shot off. Not the guy you'd expect for an offensive rebound, but it was Cusick in the right place.
Going in the right place and definitely at the right time for his father as well, who was in the hospital last week, who attended practice just in the last couple of days. And boy, if you're going to have an issue like that within your basketball family and your own family, what better mentor than Dave Rose, who's been through it himself.
A cancer survivor on the sideline for BYU, the 8-year head coach of the Cougars, Dave Rose, who has spent a lot of time since the diagnosis with the Cusick family and shared a lot of his own experiences. So it has been a challenging year for BYU in a lot of different ways, and for that kid who has been loved in this program, it's obviously been a difficult week, but a moment he'll never forget against Utah State.
Well, the good news is that Dave Rose is living proof that you can beat cancer.
Yeah, pass deflected out of bounds, and that'll send us to the under 8-minute timeout. Still 7:56 to go. Gonzaga leading at BYU.
playing tough on the defensive end. It's all working for Miami now. Look at this shot. This is humiliating, embarrassing.
The Miami Hurricanes not only beat number one, they destroy number one.
Well, our ESPN journey to the tourney winding down. The tourney is not far from now, and another game along that journey. It is a big one at Cameron. Miami Duke, Saturday, 6 Eastern on ESPN. It'll be interesting to see how much payback Duke has in them. Duke, of course, lost earlier tonight at Virginia.
Well, what a great year for the Larkin family.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Barry goes into the Hall of Fame. Shane now getting a lot of love because of what Miami has been doing all season long. And of course, there you see Gonzaga poised to take over the #1 spot if they can survive here in Provo and then beat Portland over the weekend. 3
of the top 5 have already lost this week. If Miami goes down at Duke, that would make 4 of 5 losing, and this game is certainly not over. Bell, no good on the 3. Davies with the 4 fouls. Good rebound by Brandon Davies. His 9th of the game. And this one is a long way from being over.
It is just so hard to play against everybody's best shot. And that's what you get when you're #1 in the country.
Zylstra 3, good! Four-point lead and 20,000 are standing in Provo. Olynyk, good look to Bell. Gets it off to Harris, who almost fell out of bounds. Good defense again by the Cougars. Pangos, no good. Cusick tries to save it in, couldn't quite do it.
The extra pass by BYU inside, outside. Zylstra, feet set, hands ready. He's that X-factor guy, hard worker, tough.
9-2 run for BYU. The three-point shooting has been way off for the Zags in this game.
And they have had a difficult time solving this stingy zone of BYU.
Bell down the lane. Bell, no good. Harris there for the offensive board. Harris sticks it back in, and Brandon Davies, I think, just wanted to avoid the 5th personal foul.
Yeah, it's like hand-to-hand combat in there, and Elias Harris just won.
Harris had a huge game against BYU in Spokane. He's been quieter tonight. Here's Zylstra, another 3. Got this one.
He's slapping 5 with the front row.
High 5 in the fans. Getting back on D. 3-point game. Olynyk. Ball poked away. That is off of BYU. The student section huge and vocal here, just like the crowd as a whole. 25 to shoot for Gonzaga. Olynyk's got a Hawes on him.
Yeah, I'd like to see him be aggressive.
And he does, scores.
Hawes did the only thing he could do. Try to draw the charge.
Here's Hawes on the offensive end. Hart got his hand on that pass. Kafusi. 5.5 to go. And a 5-point lead for the #2 ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs.
Olynyk and Davies, that's a physical matchup. There it is.
Here's Davies along the baseline. Davies.
Well, Olynyk just put him in jail on the baseline.
Shot clock winding down. Cusick knows it. Cusick, a heave. Go! Timeout, Mark Few. Man, is it loud in here. The three-pointers starting to go down for the Cougars, and BYU's within 2.
when you flirt with the #1 ranking in America, prepare to take everybody's best shot. And BYU is giving it now. Brock Zylstra from downtown, slapping 5 with the front row. Zylstra again, he's hot, give him the ball. And Craig Cusick, who hit the biggest shot just a few days ago to bail out Brigham Young against their in-state rival Utah State, comes up big again.
The seniors are having fun on senior night, that's for sure. Davies, Zylstra, Cusick primarily. And this is a 2-point game with still 4:59 to go. The 3-point shooting, each team has made 6, but 13 fewer attempts for BYU. They have been much more efficient from the outside, and Cusick has had some big plays in this second half.
Well, you got to think that he is playing inspired basketball right now, knowing what he's been through personally, and man, has he responded.
And again, it is deafening at the Marriott Center. Stockton in the game.
And BYU just packing it in, and Gonzaga content to move it around the perimeter.
Trying to find a lane down low.
No movement.
Shot clock winding down. Stockton a launch. That one no good. And BYU can tie or take the lead. Davies wants to get closer. Olynyk on him. Davies goes back over that shoulder, draws a foul. At the free throw line to try to tie this game. This is second personal against Kelly Olynyk. He's had a good game, but BYU has really done a nice job of trying to make him as small of a factor as possible.
Well, they've utilized that zone to surround him on his offensive end. And as that ball stalls from one side to the other, it gives the defense time to react and surround him some more.
Well, Mark Few knows his team is being challenged in a very real way tonight. For the tie, Brandon Davies. Tie game. Olynyk tried to catch the lob. Kafusi with another shove. That one's out of bounds. No foul called. He gave a little forearm push there.
And he's already living on borrowed time. Nobody should shoot the ball unless Harris and/or Olynyk get a touch in the paint.
Mark Few can't communicate it so loud. He wants the card to call out the play. There's a touch for Harris down low. Makes his move, and he is hammered as the officials get in between. Kafusi, I mean, right now he's just playing. He's not just on that edge. He's over the edge. And I don't know what they called him for the foul. He's fouled out of this game. Another very hard foul for him. And we're going to take a look at that play before we go to break here.
He's holding him right there. That's just a good hard foul right there. I don't have a problem with that one.
Very hard, but he's fouled out. Tie game, 3:52 to go. Don't go away. We'll be back right after this.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by T. Rowe Price. Understanding the connections of a complex global economy. Invest with confidence. And in part by new Kickstart by Mountain Dew. Kickstart your day.
Their first meeting.
The Miami Hurricanes take out to 90-63.
Was a shocker.
That can either make you tougher or it can break you down a little bit.
I can't ever remember them being beaten like this.
Saturday. The rematch is on.
You've lived your whole lives for these opportunities. Make the most of it.
And the crazies will be out for revenge. Miami, Duke, Saturday at 6 on ESPN.
That's been a difficult week for some of the best teams in college basketball. And what's the common denominator? Road games in conference play. Indiana, #1, lost in Minnesota. Duke tonight loses at Virginia. Michigan, very surprising, at Penn State. Gonzaga here on the road in conference being challenged big time.
This is where you earn the #1 ranking. And the malady in college basketball is real simple. As soon as you sniff #1, typically there's a 2 or 3 game losing streak. Gonzaga now taking BYU's best shot in front of what seems like the entire city of Provo.
It is amazing in here. Harris comes up short on the free throw. It's been a rough night for Elias Harris. He's got 5 points, just 1 of 3 at the free throw line. Makes 1 of 2. Kafusi did foul out on that last personal, so he's out of the game. BYU has never led in this one.
Well, Olynyk just took a shot to the face from Brandon Davies.
Davies posting up against Olynyk, had the ball stripped away and stolen by Gonzaga.
Surrounded by 4 black jerseys. They devoured the basketball.
Bell, I think he was thinking about shooting that 3, instead passed it up. Olynyk finds Harris down low. Harris with the left hand.
Olynyk, the guy to get into the gap and make the play. He showed some of those point guard skills. That's what he was before he grew 7 inches as a junior in high school.
That was a big bucket for the moment. It has quieted down here in Provo. Another made basket, and it will explode again. Hawes against Bell. Hawes backing his way in. The spin around, no good. Davies offensive rebound, and he sticks it in. Timeout, Dave Rose. With the 4 fouls, Brandon Davies playing tough. It's back to a 1-point game.
Some point guard skills. It only takes a dribble into the gap, and Elias Harris gets the ball deep again. You cannot defend against him there. Watch Brandon Davies. 2 words, senior night. Energy right there from Brandon Davies on senior night, the last night of his career at BYU at home. And man, is he playing big.
He and BYU really challenging an excellent Gonzaga team. He's got a double-double, 12 points, 10 rebounds. And ask the question if they can survive this one. Do they move to #1? There have been some #1 teams out of the West Coast Conference. The last time it happened, though, 36 years ago, San Francisco with Bill Cartwright in that 1976-77 season. Gonzaga perhaps 249 away from moving to #1.
And Big Bill Russell led the dynasty back in the 50s for San Francisco.
1-point game. Gonzaga ball.
Olynyk double team. 2 guys pushing him out of the way.
Pangos gets it to Harris, who tried a spin move and lost it out of bounds. Turnover, Gonzaga.
Harris goes with the spin. He feels pressure on his top side, so he spins and just loses the basketball.
Well, once again, we'll point out BYU has never led. Both teams are really taking care of the ball in this game overall. Here's Hawes at free throw line area, trying to initiate the contact. The ball knocked right back to Hawes.
Boy,
New shot clock for BYU. Cusick 3, no good. Rebound, and that one's off of Gonzaga.
It is survival of the fittest right now.
And maybe too physical. This game has just gotten brutal inside.
This feels like an NBA game in the playoffs with 2 minutes to go. I mean, there's no calls, and these guys are just playing.
Knocked out of bounds. Harris bats the ball away. Davies just fighting with Mike Hart to try to get free down low. Rebounding edge to the Cougars. That has been a major difference in this game. Particularly the offensive rebounds for BYU. Now Pangos guarding Hawes. No good. Almost went down. So still BYU has not led. Under 2 minutes to go.
Pound it inside. You got Olynyk in the high post.
Pangos from the corner, dribbled into an open look, no good. Zylstra rips it away. .120 to play. Davies, Cusick open, air ball. Mike Hart is fouled. And Cusick, I think he was so wide open, he was surprised. And that means bonus time for the Zags.
Watch the ball go down to Davies. He fights for position. Can't keep his balance. And look how open Cusick is. And Kelly Olynyk, the closest defender, the next defender is laying down on the floor. He's just wide open.
So Cusick not that time. It's the senior, Mike Hart. Got a poor free throw shooting night for the Zags. Front end of the 1-and-1 here. Big, big free throws. Missed it. Loose ball. Hart gets it.
The #1 ranking is never a gift. You must earn it in places like this.
Under a minute to go. Bell.
Boy, they just are not attacking the zone.
Olynyk gets into the lane, scores.
They did there.
Olynyk, another super efficient night, 7 of 10 from the field, 19 points and a basket to put Gonzaga back up by 3.
Kelly Olynyk has been surveying the soft spot of the zone right in this space in order to get free area, and Gary Bell Jr. sees him, and look at all the defenders, can't quite react to that soft shooting touch from the elbow. Olynyk's so good at probing that middle space, the dead zone. He made a play and a pass inside to Elias Harris a few possessions ago and steps into the gap there. That's effective.
Well, you have to give BYU a lot of credit in this game in that zone defense has been well executed. It's given the Zags problems. They've somehow kept Brandon Davies in this game through all kinds of foul trouble that started from the very first seconds of this game. And yet Gonzaga has never trailed. They have a 3-point lead with 42.7 seconds to go. Gonzaga has 2 timeouts left. Both teams in the bonus, and the possession arrow does favor the Zags.
Well, we said it's like the NBA. No boys allowed. It has been physical all night long, and at times over the line. Loose balls, sellout. Inside, challenge.
Both teams in the huddle here. Mark Few with his Bulldogs. Dave Rose with the BYU Cougars. And it's clear not just the physical nature of this game, but the senior night emotions, and maybe too much emotion early on. BYU did not play well in the first minutes of this game, but they have given Gonzaga everything the Zags could have hoped for on the road, and they still have a real shot to win this game.
Well, it's not about emotion now, but it starts with an E. It's about execution. And right now, Brandon Davies has been able to get himself free in the paint. You've got the luxury of Tyler Hawes, who has played well tonight. When he's on the same side as Davies, it creates space for him inside.
And you figure that that's how Dave Rose would draw it up. The three-point shooting, look at the number. Gonzaga has shot 30 threes, and they've only made 6 of them.
And they're still ahead.
3-point lead.
Watch number 3 and 0 in white.
So they get Hawes and Davies together. Hawes doesn't use the screen and missed the shot. Got a great look. It goes out of bounds off of Gonzaga. And Hawes makes that shot. probably 8 times out of 10. Shot clock is now off. 32.6 seconds to go. Cusick is the inbounder. He'll get it into Zylstra. Zylstra runner, short, rebound. Hart snatches it away. Another big play by Hart. It's Pangos in the corner. He's fouled. Now that was a great rebound by Hart because BYU was right around that basketball. And it was Hart who just would not let the offensive rebound happen. And ultimately they get Pangos, excellent free throw shooter, to the line.
Well, Michael Hart just goes up, grabs the ball, stays with it. And how about Pangos right here? He could have panicked, but he stayed strong with the basketball.
Got a nightmare game for Pangos. He is 1 of 12 from three-point range. 1 of 12. And these are his first free throws of the game. 1 and 1. Not easy here at the Marriott Center. This is not just a regular season game for Gonzaga, team that's already clinched a share of the conference regular season championship. This means a whole lot more.
And these kids know everybody has lost ahead of them and behind them in 2 spots.
Second one maybe a little easier for Pangos. 2 huge free throws. 5-point game, and BYU's got to hurry. It's Hawes. Tyler Hawes going to the basket. Hawes, tough shot, no good. Loose ball. Gary Bell comes away with it, and that's another foul. And Gonzaga is 12.6 seconds away from escaping Provo. And it was not a foul. They called a jump ball. It is Gonzaga basketball, so not a foul. But the arrow favors the Bulldogs. Timeout, Mark Few. He's got 1 left. These teams are no strangers to games coming right down to the wire. In fact, 2 of the most exciting moments in college basketball. One involving Gonzaga on the road. In fact, the last Zags loss, couldn't inbound the ball. Otherwise, they would have had a win. And Roosevelt Jones at the buzzer at Hinkle. A signature moment this year. The Butler wins 64-63. The last time Gonzaga lost a game. And here on this floor, it looked like sort of a buzzer-beating type win for BYU after Hawes hit that tough shot. But look at the clock, 2.5 seconds to go, and Matthew Dellavedova from what, 35, 40 feet, the heave at the buzzer himself to win the game for St. Mary's.
He knew it was down as soon as it left his hands.
So both of these teams have been involved in close games, and both have been on the wrong end of dramatic shots. We saw them both there. The Cougars at this point would love for the game to come down to a buzzer beater because they're in trouble. Hart, the inbounder. He'll get it into Olynyk, and Olynyk is fouled.
That's a pretty nice luxury on your out-of-bounds play.
I would say.
Throw it to your 7-footer. He's going to be open.
Have your 7-footer sprint 50 feet to the inbounder, catch the ball, and go to the free throw line with his 80% free throw shooting number.
Yeah, he's as quick or quicker than anybody else. He runs like a deer. He's got great hands. He can jump. It's a pretty good option on an inbounds play.
What a year for Kelly Olynyk, making a very strong case for first-team All-American. Front end of the 1-and-1. Misses it. BYU still has a chance here. Under 10 seconds. Cusick had it poked away, and that's a shooting foul. Man, Gonzaga just made a huge mistake. That'll be 3 shots for BYU.
Cusick does a smart thing right there. He drives right into 2 defenders and invites contact, and he knows he can get into his shooting motion. That's smart.
Yeah, that was a smart play by Cusick and a very poor decision by Gonzaga. 3 at the line. First one is good.
One more. I'd have him miss the 3rd one on purpose. I'd have him just grab it and just quick draw it, shoot it right away.
And Dave Rose just barked something at Cusick. He may have just told him that.
See, but if you wait, you let him get settled.
Cusick rattles it home. So it's a 2-point game with 7 seconds. Zags have to be able to get the ball in here, and they do have a timeout, and they get the timeout. That was close. Close to a 5-second violation, but they get the timeout called. Foul on the 3, and then a near turnover. Gonzaga trying to survive. WCC tournament right around the corner, and it promises to be an exciting one. If this game is any indication, if it started today, the top 2 seeds, in fact, the top 2 seeds are set. They get the double bye into the semis. Gonzaga and St. Mary's. BYU trying to fight for that 3 seed and avoid Gonzaga in the semifinals. Santa Clara right now positioned as the 4 seed.
Santa Clara has had a tough matchup with Gonzaga. Of course, I guess we could say that about just about everybody in the country.
It's been a competitive league this year. There have been some surprising results, but ultimately it's been a season dominated by Gonzaga. They have not dominated BYU tonight, that's for sure. And this game is not over.
Look for the home run pass.
Gonzaga's out of timeouts. They got to get it in. They do get it into Harris, who's fouled. Only 0.4 of a second tick off the clock. Now, Gonzaga, they are not out of the woods yet, not at all.
Watch Gary Bell Jr. right here as he flies. He is wide open for a layup right there. And they just miss him, but they get the ball in bounds and get to go to the free throw line.
Maybe it was Big Nate Austin bothering the inbounder Hart. I don't know.
Well-designed play. I love it when coaches send one guy deep. It creates space in all the other areas of the court.
Harris is just 2 of 4 at the line. And it's a 1-and-1. I said 1-and-1. It's a double bonus. So he misses the first.
If he makes one, it's a 3-point game. Under 7. Mark Few and I talked about this before the game. He indicated to me that he would probably defend in this situation. He would defend the 3 and not foul. It is a 3-point game.
So now we'll see. Cusick, and BYU calls a timeout. Pangos was ready to foul in the backcourt there. The timeout called, 5.6 seconds on the clock. Dave Rose uses his last timeout, and now Mark Few and company can talk about what they want to do, and that is the decision. We've seen it so often in college basketball this year. Teams having to make this choice whether to foul up 3 and try to prevent the shot from 3 that could tie.
We talked about it in pregame. He said that it was situational, that he would lean toward defending, but he's done both. In this circumstance, one thing you got to look for, if you can force the dribbler to dribble east and west from sideline to sideline, that's not a bad call to foul at that point because they can't reel into their shot. If they're moving north and south toward the basket, that's when they can do basically what Cusick did on the last shot, which is move in the defender and force the 3-point foul.
Well, lots of decisions to be made. BYU has to worry about trying to get a look off with 5.6 seconds to go. Gonzaga was up 7 but missed free throws and a foul on a 3-point attempt. The Zags have not played it clean here down the stretch. BYU still has a chance in this one, and we will see. Nobody with a timeout remaining.
I think if they dribble sideways, I think they're going to foul him. That's the body language I saw during the timeout from Mark Few.
Zylstra, the inbounder, right in front of Mark Few and the Gonzaga bench. Gets it into Cusick, and Olynyk fouls him before Cusick could get the shot off. He hit it, but of course, the foul was before the shot. So there's your answer. 4.8 seconds to go. I mean, we'll watch it again, but that was clearly before the shot here.
Now, there's the foul right there, and he was going sideways, and Olynyk reached out and pushed him.
Pretty good play by Cusick, though, just to take a chance. He's 4 of 5 at the line. Misses the first. Harris high for the rebound, and he's fouled. 2.9 seconds left. It's Harris to the other end.
So many college coaches are reluctant to foul in that situation, and there's a lot of debate about the percentages. The bottom line is it is situational depending on what type of team you're going up against. and Mark Few decided to go with the foul in this situation.
Well, and the evidence is not overwhelming that there is a right decision to make. But in this instance, it looks like the Zags made the right call, because the foul before the three, the missed free throw, Harris can essentially ice this game. Nate Austin is fouled out. Four-point lead. And now Gonzaga will back off. One more for the senior, Elias Harris. He made it.
Mark Few just preserved this victory.
Zylstra heaves one up. It comes up short. And sort of a metaphor for the way tonight went just a little bit short for BYU. What an effort by the Cougars, and what a win for the Zags.
Gonzaga is #1 in my view, period.
We'll find out soon. Our final score, Gonzaga gets the win here on the road by 5. For Mark Adams, this is Dave Fleming saying so long from Provo.
It's the opening tip on College Basketball Live. Coming off a thriller, Gonzaga pushed to the brink in Provo. We will go right back out there and talk to one of the Zags on how they pulled this off. Plus, UVA takes down Duke behind a career night by Joe Harris, why the Devils were stormed by the Wahoos. And we get you set for the Miami-Duke rematch on Saturday. Keys for both teams and who will be celebrating at Cameron Indoor. College Basketball Live tips off now.
Welcome to College Basketball Live, presented by Red Lobster.
Welcome to College Basketball Live. Steve Weissman, Coach Bruce Pearl. Duke goes down. We've got another top 5 team going down, but let's get straight back out to Gonzaga. What a thriller. BYU and the Zags. Could it be another top 5 team, Coach? I mean, Gonzaga, they were pushed to the brink, and they needed it.
There's no question. Gonzaga needed to be challenged here late in the season, and guys like Kelly Olynyk and company delivered.
Later in the first half, Elias Harris feeds Olynyk down low, the big Canadian, plus the foul. Zags up 7-2. Then, in transition, David Stockton stunting like his daddy.
That's a hard foul in there. The little guy takes the hoop and the harm.
To the second half, Stockton, he knows where to go, the big fella.
And it's all even. Everything's even, but they got 13, and BYU doesn't have number 13. He's that big a difference.
But BYU, their resolve was strong. Tyler Hawes, tough shot, 6-point ball game.
Great mid-range player for BYU, Tyler Hawes.
And then the triple. BYU pulls within 2. They're going nuts in Provo. Over 3 minutes to go. Olynyk to Harris. Zags with a 3-point cushion. Just too much bigs down low.
I agree. And they did a great job of getting the ball inside right there to the high post against the zone, and Olynyk makes them pay.
So Zags maintaining that 3-point cushion. You make the decision here, Coach, and you foul. He makes all 3 free throws. So BYU down 2. Last chance. It's not going to go. Gonzaga escapes with a victory. 70-65 is the final. Kelly Olynyk, 19 points. Gary Bell Jr., 15. They shoot just 41%. But Gonzaga potentially could be the #1 team in the country now for the first time in school history. What did they do to escape tonight in Provo?
Well, they made the plays that they needed to make. That's a tough environment at the Marriott Center in Provo. And we've seen 19 top 5 teams go down to unranked teams. Gonzaga didn't do it. They made the plays down the stretch. They got the ball inside. They played solid defense. This was a physical game. BYU would have beat a lot of teams in this building tonight, but not the second-ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs.
Listen, Gonzaga, they took on Portland at home on Saturday, final regular season game. Then they've got the WCC tournament coming up.
Yep.
So, you know, this for them really sets them up for that. All right, we're going to welcome in Coach Mark Few from Gonzaga right now. Congratulations, Coach, on the win tonight. You were up 3 late in the ball game, chose to foul as opposed to letting it play out. What went into that decision?
I mean, a lot of things. Situationally, just being in this building, the atmosphere, the fact that they had been really shooting it well from the three-point line at a lot of different positions. And, we had the right guys out there that I felt comfortable with. And to be honest with you guys, this is something you guys don't talk about a lot. We had the right officials out there that I trusted that if we did foul prior to a shot, they, would call it.
Hey, Mark, this is Coach
We've had
Bruce
situations
Pearl,
where we've tried to foul and they haven't called it.
Well, listen, you made the right choice here. It was absolutely the right choice to make this foul. Mark, was this as physical a game as you guys have played all season?
I mean, we've had some real rock fights, in Stillwater and in our league. I mean, our league's a physical league. At St. Mary's was a very, very physical ball game, but BYU brings it. I mean, one thing they do is they play as hard as any team in the country, and they really play hard, Coach. And I know you saw that with their zone slides. I mean, they were flying around. It was hard to find. We're trying to attack that thing in the interior, and it was tough to find creases in there. But we finally got it to KO there, and he hit a big shot. And then, I thought our defense was pretty solid all night. Yeah, they just made some big shots.
Coach, I think you needed a close game. A game late where you had to make those plays and find seams on the inside, get to the foul line, put some pressure on your guys. Do you agree that this was a game you guys definitely needed, a close ball game down the stretch?
I can't believe that's coming from a coach. I mean, I love these 30-point, 40-point. I would have much rather been in a 40-point blowout, trust me.
Come on, you guys needed this one. You needed to be challenged here late in the year, put some pressure on your guys.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at our season, we've been challenged a lot, and there's a lot of good teams in this league that I think people really overlook. This is a darn good team, BYU. They've taken St. Mary's right down to the wire and probably should have won both games, which would have, probably would have put them in the NCAA discussion pretty seriously. But, I was thinking that we needed to be tested. You're right, and to execute down the stretch and have to make decisions both on the bench and out there on the floor was something that we needed, and we had to be able to battle through some adversity. With the exception of .1 in Butler, I mean, this team's been unbelievable on the road, if you think about that.
Coach, Indiana, Michigan, and Duke all go down this week, so likely you will move up to the #1 ranking in the country. That would be the first time in the program's history to be #1. What would that mean to you all?
Well, first of all, I mean, we don't really have control over that, so I don't know if they will or not. I mean, that'll be up to all those voters. But, we've done so much over the years at GU, I mean, because of great players, unbelievable players. And, there really isn't that much to do other than maybe go to a Final Four, win a national championship. We haven't won 30 games before in the season, and we've never been ranked #1, and we haven't been a #1 seed. So, if we can start crossing some of these things off the list like this team's done, this has probably been as good a record as we've ever had in all our road neutral games. And we've had some great squads up there.
Oh, Mark, I'm thrilled for the way you guys are playing right now. Give me one thing that you'd like to try this team to do a little bit better down the stretch. Give me one more thing you want to improve on.
Eat a little more at pregame meal. How's that?
Good call. The pregame meals haven't been up to par.
I don't want to give away my secrets here. Come on.
Hey, man, this was a great win. I mean, everybody was watching this one. BYU, very, very difficult to beat at home. Your kids really stepped up. Congratulations.
They did. Thanks a lot, Coach. That means a lot.
All right, good stuff right there. Coach Mark Few and the winning Gonzaga Bulldogs.